Well, hello, everyone. I'm Ed Parcaut, as you can see on the screen. I'm here with Bobby Atkins, and we do this weekly, a couple times a week, Real Estate Jerky live. Bobby, thanks for being here today.
Thank you as always, Ed. Appreciate it.
And I want to get right into it, but if you guys like what we do, please follow us. Go, we do these. They go on to YouTube and they're there. And I don't know if you knew this, but I actually have a first-time home buyer one that puts all the important ones of these that we've done for first-time home buyers. It's on there. So you can just go there, look at the playlist of first-time home buyers, and it goes through all the different things we went over. So it's actually, we're doing stuff with this.
Yeah.
So, and that would be on my Ed Parcaut on YouTube. And what's nice is I'm everywhere at Parcaut. I'm not,
not hard to find.
No, pretty easy. You can just Google it and you can find me everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Today's show is your show. What I mean by that is you came in, you said, today I want to talk about why you shouldn't take a cash offer in this market. And the first thing I say is, are you crazy? As a seller, that's all I want to take.
Yeah.
Right. Because I want my house gone so I can buy my next one. But what's the problem with taking an all cash offer right now?
Yeah. So the all cash offer is always very tempting. And I get it from a seller standpoint. And there are reasons why you'd want to take one. So the first one is if it's your highest and best offer. Oftentimes, though, the cash offers we're seeing aren't the highest and best, but they think that they can kind of push their weight around because they are cash, right? So they'll come in with shorter terms. They'll say, hey, we'll go ahead and do a 10-day close, because we're cash. So we'll just go ahead and knock this out. But they're going to offer you, say, 10,000 below list price. Or I saw one where we got a cash offer and it came in not only below list price, but they wanted them to pay off their solar lease, which was going to be like $20,000, So that is one reason. A lot of times they're just kind of trying to push their weight around, and people hear all cash and they get excited, right? Because like, oh, well,
I'm a seller. What else would I want?
Yeah.
But the other problem is, I think, which most people don't know, is a lot of these all cash offers are investment people. They're buying these to be rentals.
Exactly.
And so if you like your neighbors, if you like the people you're leaving, you might want to think twice about this. But you also have to look at the other side. I mean, it's like all cash and but it doesn't mean they're still going to close, right? They can come back and say, I don't like this and I'm walking now.
Exactly. Now, if it's all cash, waive all contingencies,
right,
then you're talking about something different. But yeah, I mean, there's always the inspection period, whether they do it, and if they get it done in 7 or 10 days, they could still find something and back out,
right.
Where I guess it depends on the attachment you have to your home and really what your plan is when you're leaving, because I've had some sellers that are moving out of state and they like their neighbors, but when someone comes in with 30,000 cash over, they say, well, that's just kind of like a no-brainer, right?
Right.
And actually, that scenario was an individual family buying the house. It wasn't an investor, but it was someone coming from the Bay Area. And so they sold their house in Antioch for $900,000. So paying, this is a few years ago, but paying $330,000 for a house.
That was a while back.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Well, but what you're saying is just you see if they're going to look at the contract, see if they're going to live there, see if they're going to turn it into a rental.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that the investors are out there buying up these properties. And I mean, REITs and the reason they're doing that is they know the rental market is going to be crazy for the next forever. I mean, because we don't have enough homes, we're not building enough homes, and I don't care what people think is. Everybody's leaving California. Not as many people are leaving this California as before.
Yeah.
So we're all here, and I'm just going to say something a little political, that if you like California, but you don't like what's going on with the gas and everything, you have a choice in November to make a choice, and you need to get there and have your voice heard. Because then I said this on the Mike Douglas show yesterday when I called in, everywhere in the country looks at California to see what they can get away with.
Yeah.
So
that's a good way to put it.
So we need to stand up if we like our area, we don't like what's going on. Because I don't care whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. Most of us are in the middle. Us ones in the middle need to stand up and say, this is ridiculous. We need to make a change. So you need to go out in November. And I talk about this on the radio show. I talk about everywhere. You need to get out and vote because it's very important. But back to the real estate stuff.
Well, I mean, that affects it too, I mean,
it's huge. I mean, think how many people now are not going to commute. What I mean by that is they bought here, and now, I mean, here's an example. I went and filled up my tank the other day. I can only put 19 gallons in a 31-gallon tank. So what used to cost me $80 is going to cost me more than $160 to fill up my tank now.
Yeah. No, it's bonkers. I mean, you're looking at $5.49 a gallon, and I saw some gas
$6.25 for freaking diesel.
Well, so you have diesel, yeah. Well, that's a whole nother beast right there, right?
It's supposed to be cheaper.
It used to be back in the day. But so another reason why you don't want to take cash buyer is there's lots of first time buyers out there that just are getting beat out. You're just getting clobbered, you know. And what's happening when all these different sellers accept cash buyers, they're ensuring that these first time home buyers are actually going to be stuck being renters for a very long time. And that's always frustrating for me because I see a lot of folks, that might be in an apartment and they view that as a transitional living space, right? Then they decide they want to get in the housing market and it is just brutal. I mean, especially if you're in the FHA range up to 476, that is prime investor real estate area, and they'll come in cash and before you know it, everything's pending. And they're like, well, we had 20 offers, which is 20 potential people that could have lived in that house and loved it.
Right.
And now it's going to be another rental, which means it's going to more than likely bring down the value of the neighborhood over time.
Right. And you're right on that. And the other issue that you're running into is if you're a contingent offer in this market,
Yeah.
you're getting beat out by everybody else because nobody wants a contingent offer. And unless it's a contingent cash offer, right? So it depends. I had one call over the weekend from somebody up in Tuolumne County, and they're selling the listing agent is selling a cabin that's on Lake Don Pedro, the Jamestown side, which doesn't come up much, with 42 acres, and it's a log cabin. Well, there's two issues. It's a 42 acres and it's a log cabin. Those are two issues that people don't realize. And she was like, I don't know what to do because I have this and I have this, and supposedly all cash offer coming in. I'm like, well, no matter who you go with, whether, because I was actually doing the loan for one of the people on it. I go, I don't care who you go with, but two issues you're going to have. One is it's on 42 acres and one is it's a log cabin. You got to have comps within the last 90 days. Sometimes they can go away with 6 months, but it just depends. What I'm getting at is there are some times where you have to take a cash offer. It just makes more sense to do that. But if it's in a housing tract and you're trying to help people get into homes, because I want sellers to look back when they got in, right? They were able to get in, and it helped them move through. So I get the whole thing taking cash, but what you're doing is you could be hurting your neighbors if it's not an actual individual going to live there. But if it's an individual going to live there, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's, as you mentioned earlier, sometimes it's, a lot of times it's going to be REITs, right? Which is the real estate investment trust.
Right.
On occasion, you're going to have the small time investor that might be doing like a 1031 exchange where they sold, say like a shopping complex and they need to invest their money in some rentals. They're probably going to be a little pickier with their renters, but that's rarely the case. I'd say 80% of the time it's going to be an investment company. And even what they'll do is they'll come and try and lowball you, flip the house, try and make 30 grand off of it. There's a lot of reasons, but I personally, obviously being a realtor, I love seeing people get in their first home. And it's really discouraging right now seeing how difficult it is for them. I mean, we're talking the average buyer right now, we're writing offers for 20,000 over, still losing out, right? And that's ones that aren't contingent on selling a home, so we get to this point where they've written 15 offers and they say, I'm just exhausted, I want out, I'm going to take a break.
And that's where a lot of buyers are.
Yeah.
And what's happening also with the interest rates going up, it's taking a lot of buyers out, which is not a bad thing. What I get by that is that means there's less people offering. So if you were normally getting, say, 15 offers on a property, you're going to get 9 offers on a property, which is going to make it a lot easier for people, you as agents, listing agents, to go through the offers. Also stop the crazy 20+% appreciation that we've had. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I own property. I love it, but it takes people out.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where people can't afford. And then everybody says, well, we need to do something about it and build affordable housing. We just need to build housing.
Yeah.
If we built housing, which is, we need to get the government out of the way of us being able to build housing in California, make it faster, make it easier. And it's not just housing in California that the government gets in the way of. To replace a bridge that's already there, it takes 20 years of all these different surveys and stuff. It's already there. Right. So there's just a lot of stuff involved in getting off the whole thing. While we're here, we're talking about why you might not want to, as a seller, take a cash offer. We kind of went over a few different things there, but if you really want to help people get into homes, make sure the person that is a cash offer is the person that's actually going to live there, because then that makes sense. But if it's not, you might want to help out your neighbors by doing another offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you love your neighbors, you love your house, try and avoid, making it become a rental.
Yes. And a couple other things. I'll talk on Thursday. We're going to have another one on Thursday. You don't want to miss it. I'm not going to get a little teaser, but it's going to be a good one. Okay. All right, Bobby, thanks for being on today. And thanks everybody for watching. And if you like what we do here, just share, subscribe, let us know. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.